If bass keep following your deep crankbait and won't eat it, stop reeling it straight. On your next cast, when you feel the bait ticking bottom or brushing cover, speed it up for a second, or rip it, or just crash it harder into whatever it's hitting. That deflection, the bait suddenly changing direction, is what triggers the bite. A crankbait swimming in a smooth, straight line almost never gets eaten by a following fish. That's the fix. Now here's why it works. Because once you understand what a crankbait actually does, you'll stop fishing it like a swimbait and start fishing it like what it is, a trigger. Start with what's happening when they follow and don't commit. You make a long cast, your deep crank digs down, and you reel it back on a smooth, steady retrieve. Feels good. Maybe you even see a fish flash behind it on your electronics. But nothing eats. You change colors, you change baits, you keep grinding that same smooth retrieve, and they keep following and leaving. Here's the problem. That smooth, steady, straight line retrieve is the single least effective way to fish a crankbait, and it's how almost everybody fishes one. Because a crankbait is not a lure that catches fish by looking like food. It catches fish by triggering a reflex, and a reflex needs a trigger, something sudden. A bait swimming along at one speed in a straight line has no trigger in it at all. It's just a thing moving. She can follow that all day and never feel the urge to commit, because nothing about it says now. This is the same thing from the follow and don't eat video, if you saw it. A following bass is waiting for her prey to do the one thing real prey does when it's in trouble. Bolt, dart, panic, make a mistake. A steady retrieve never gives her that. So she follows, waiting for a trigger that never comes, and eventually she just turns off. The crankbait's whole job is to give her that trigger, and the way it does it is deflection. Deflection just means the bait hitting something and caroming off it, smacking a rock, ticking a stump, ripping through the top of the grass, and for a split second changing direction hard. That sudden, erratic dart is exactly what a fleeing, panicking baitfish looks like. It's the trigger. And this isn't a minor detail. The pros who live on deep cranks will tell you deflection accounts for something like 90% of the fish. 90%. The bait catching fish by bumping into stuff, not by swimming prettily past them. A deep crank running clean through open water, never touching anything, is a deep crank that mostly gets followed and refused. So the entire game with a crankbait is making that deflection happen on purpose. And that's where most anglers get it wrong, in 3 specific ways. The first mistake is never touching anything. A lot of people are scared to bang their crankbait into cover because they don't want to get snagged. So they reel it just over the top of everything, clean and safe. And they catch a fraction of what they could. You want that bait hitting bottom, ticking rock, bumping wood, constantly. A crankbait deflecting off cover actually snags less than you'd think, because the bill hits first and knocks the bait over the obstacle. The contact is the point. If you're not occasionally hanging up, you're not fishing it deep enough or close enough. The second mistake is the wrong bait for the depth. This one's counterintuitive. If you're fishing 8 feet of water, you do not want a crankbait that dives 20 feet. People think deeper diving is always better, and it's backwards. You want a crankbait that hits bottom just before it reaches its maximum depth, so it's digging in, deflecting, kicking up mud, right in the strike zone. A bait that dives way deeper than the bottom just plows and buries and loses its action. Match the bait's dive to the depth you're fishing, so it's ticking bottom, not gouging into it. And here's the part almost nobody knows. You can tune your depth with your line. Lighter line lets a crankbait run deeper. Heavier line keeps it shallower, and a longer cast runs deeper than a short one. So the same bait can be dialed a couple feet deeper or shallower just by changing your line size and how far you cast. That's how the good cranker keeps the bait in that perfect bottom ticking zone on every cast. The third mistake is the one from the opening, reeling it straight and steady. Even in open water with nothing to hit, you can create the trigger yourself. Change speeds, reel fast, then slow, then fast. Throw a hard pause in and let it float up for a second. Give the reel a quick burst. Every one of those is an artificial deflection, a fake stumble, and it does the same thing hitting a rock does. It gives a following fish the sudden movement she's been waiting for. Your job on every single cast is to make that bait change direction or speed at least a few times. Never let it just swim. So put it together. Long cast to get it deep. Match the bait so it ticks bottom in the zone you're fishing, and then make it deflect the entire way back, off cover, off the bottom, or off your own speed changes. That's deep cranking. It's not a swimming retrieve, it's a controlled series of triggers. Now, when does this not apply? Because there are times deflection isn't the answer, and forcing it will cost you. The big one is suspended fish. When bass are sitting out in open water off the bottom, suspended over deep water chasing bait, which happens a lot in summer and around schools of shad, there's nothing down there to deflect off, and they're not relating to cover anyway. That's the one time a straight, steady retrieve at the right depth actually is the answer, because you're just trying to run the bait through them. Deflection tricks don't help when there's nothing to deflect off and the fish are already hunting in open water. And the other one is when they're genuinely aggressive. If bass are actively feeding, schooling, busting bait on top, you don't need a subtle trigger, you need to get a moving bait through them fast. Deflection is for the neutral fish that follows and won't commit. It's not a magic word for every situation.